Hey everybody, this is Jake with Myers Flies. Here in the vise, I've got a France fly, and I've kind of nicknamed this one the Hammersley Hammer. If you're familiar with the north central part of Pennsylvania, one of the tributaries to Kettle Creek is Hammersley Fork, and the Hammersley is a really beautiful place to fish, and this little France fly has proven time and time again for me on that little stretch of water. And so I just thought I'd share it with you. Now the France fly is typically tied with some stretch tubing. I'm not doing that. I've got some wire here that is a black rib, and so it just seems this color pattern works really well for me there. And also it serves as a great just a smaller mayfly imitation, especially the Baetis species of the mayfly. This is an olive color. This is a size 16, so I'll typically fish this in 15 or 16 and 18. And so we're going to go ahead and get into tying. It's a very simple fly to tie. This is a Firehole 516 in size 16, as I said, and this is their little tungsten, the tungsten bead, which is a 2.8 millimeter tungsten bead. Now I'm going to get that pushed up in there. Now you can put some lead on here, and maybe just 3 wraps of lead and push it tight up against, but I typically don't. I'll typically just push this up here like this and hold my fingers right up against the back of it and wrap in between my finger and the bead to kind of just build up a little thread dam here, and then just kind of tie it back, taper that off. Then I'm going to use a little bit of Coq de Leon. This is like an olive color. You can use whatever color you prefer to match your fly, and I'm going to do this about the size of the hook shank here. And so we don't want a very large tail on it. And I'll wrap it back to about where the hook point, or the hook bend goes down. Then I'm going to take just some ultra wire. This is brassy. Now on a size 16 you would typically use a small thread, but I like the real pronounced rib on this. I'm going to go to the far side of my hook, and that's where I'm going to let my thread roll over, kind of tie it on the top, and then the thread tension brings it over to the side there. I'm going to counterclockwise spin my thread, and that's going to loosen this up. This is a 140 denier ultra thread in olive, and what that does is just lets the thread lay flat. And so that's it. We don't need a lot. You just want to taper that body up, and then I'm going to wrap this up around maybe 4-5 times, get that up there to the back, and I'll wrap it behind. Then I kind of switch hands and come up in front of it, wrap that wire in real good, then just helicopter it off. And you can see there, it's just got a little tapered body, and you can play with this. I tie these pretty quick, so you can play with that and get a real fancy taper if you would prefer. I don't know that the fish really are looking that close at it. You don't need a lot of dubbing here. This is just a squirrel and rabbit blend that I just kind of mix together. So you can, whatever you like there, but that's just real light on the, real light on that. And then we'll just whip finish it all. You can put some super glue in there. I usually finish it off with a little bit of Solares, and then just kind of pick that out and let those fibers just kind of look like legs and kind of come back over the fly there. But that's it. Very simple pattern to tie. This is silver bead with a with the olive thread, the black rib on it, and I call it the Hammersley Hammer because, man, I hammer the fish with this thing. A lot of times when I go up through there, it's, May time, maybe early June, depending on what water flow is, and I'll usually put this as my tag dropper. So I'm using usually like an egg pattern. You guys know I love my egg patterns as an attractor pattern, or something like a green weenie that's weighted down. And so that'll be like the heavier anchor fly. And then I'll come up and tie off a little tag, like a 3-4 inch tag. And then I'll put this little guy. And most of the time I'm catching them on this little guy right here. So very effective little fly. Again, it's the France fly. I've just nicknamed it the Hammersley Hammer because it just seems this little variation right here has worked really well for me up in that area. So give it a try, and be sure to tag us. Let us know how you do if you fish it. And be sure to check us out on our Instagram and Facebook. Also, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check us out at myersflies.com. Thanks again for watching.